The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus went up the mountain and summoned those whom he wanted, and they came to him. He appointed 12, whom he also named apostles, that they might be with him, and he might send them forth to preach, and to have authority, and to drive out demons. He appointed the 12, Simon, whom he named Peter, James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, whom he named Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder, Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Cananean, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We're all Roman Catholic. You ever wondered why we add that line Roman in there? Roman. Of course, it harkens back to the time of the Roman Empire. Imagine now, if you're in the first few centuries, the magnificence of Rome. It would have been utterly stunning, that city. It was a city encased with magnificent marble, the engineering, the architecture. Oftentimes we, as modern people, we tend to look down on ancient people as if they were dumb. Well, the Romans were brilliant for all their savagery. I mean, they were horrible morally as well, but they were brilliant. Some of their techniques still baffling for us today. And so to be a Christian in this culture of the Roman Empire, it would have been stunning. You also have to ask ourselves, why did our ancestors become Christian to begin with? Because they're surrounded by temples of all these different Greek and Roman gods. And they were a small minority, hated by not only the pagans, but by the Jews as well. And yet they still became Catholic. And the great witness today is Saint Sebastian. He was killed in the year 288 under the Emperor Diocletian. It was one of the first waves of persecution against us. Again, remember, the Catholic Church would have been small back then. We're currently 1.3 billion on the earth right now. But they were tiny back then. And so it costs more to become Catholic. The famous images of Saint Sebastian is him tied to a tree and shot by arrows. As I mentioned before, I was privileged to be sent to Rome to study. And when you get there as seminarians to study as a priest, one of the first things they do, so that first summer is a period of orientation. You go to your school, you learn the schedule, they show you the best restaurants to eat in Rome, the best pasta. You avoid that tourist trap, don't go there. The orientation, living in a foreign city. But they also take us to the catacombs. There's a catacomb in Rome just outside of the city called San Sebastiano. It's where Saint Sebastian was killed. Because when he was martyred, he was buried in these tunnels. So the catacombs are these ancient tunnels that our ancestors built, miles and miles of them, and they would intern their dead in there. And so as seminarians, we go and they show us where Saint Sebastian was killed. And what that does to the heart of a seminarian, especially as an American, it tells you how old the church is. Again, remember, the Catholic Church is the oldest institution on earth, running institution. The pedigree of the Catholic Church is utterly stunning. And it gives you a sense of that I'm part of a huge family. Jesus in the gospel today goes up a mountain. Read this as a first century Jew. When you hear the word mountain, you immediately think of Moses on Mount Sinai. Mountains are places of encounter with God. So Jesus goes up the mountain, and then he begins to call the 12, the apostles. Again, as a first century Jew, that number 12 should invoke the 12 tribes of Israel. And remember, where is Jesus doing this? He's doing this, as I preached yesterday, and which you'll hear this Sunday. He's doing this mission, he's beginning to call the 12 in the region of Naphtali and Zebulun, the first two tribes that were wiped out by the Assyrian Empire centuries before when they were lost. So when the Jews first hear that Jesus is up on a mountain calling the 12, immediately they would have said, Jesus is starting to reconstitute the family of God, to bring them around him now. See, God is gathering his people. And why the beauty of why we're called Roman Catholic is because the city of Rome is where Peter, the first of the 12, is martyred. Peter is the first pope. And upon this rock, as we hear in Matthew, the gates of hell shall never prevail against the church. Do you see the weight and how proud we should be as Catholic? Not because we're smarter than everybody else or holier than everybody else, but what Christ has done to sustain his family. Where is Diocletian now? Who knows? The barbarians took his body somewhere and scattered it in the Tiber River, maybe. If you go to Rome today, the empire has crumbled, and the Catholic Church is in its place. We are part of God's family. We are the continuation of the 12 apostles here. And like Saint Sebastian, we are called to witness to the glory of Jesus Christ. Our mission is just the same. Bring all of the scattered tribes back to God.